Hey Janis, welcome to the Sales Talk. How are you?
Hey Gopi, thanks for having me. I'm good and looking forward today.
Awesome, super. Looking forward to as well. For today's topic of discussion is going to be around, uh, the transition from an SDR to an account executive, just like yourself.
hmm
And I'm like super happy to know about your experience because I know you have gone through the same journey. And to start off with, my first question actually has two segments, which is going to be,
Okay.
why did you choose sales as your career? And the second part is, why did you choose SDR to start your sales career with?
hmm Basically, I was never searching for a sales job. I think this is something you will hear very often in the whole market. But basically, what happened was that I got a random LinkedIn message. I created my profile very new in these days and just got a ping like, hey, we're looking for SDRs. And I was a working student in this time, 19 years old. So I basically stumbled, so to say, into sales with 19 as a working student, tried to work my 20 hours up to 40 hours in the summer breaks, right? And yeah, just developed myself there. And like I didn't really understand in the beginning what an SDR does. So it was a bit weird in the beginning because I tried to, of course, prepare myself for the interviews and so on. And I watched a lot of videos. So this was kind of my start in cold calling, in the whole cold calling game. Um, and the second question was why SDR or
So
yeah.
what was the reason that you chose SDR as a,
Mm,
like a starting point at your career?
yeah. I think this is often a very good point to start, right? Because what you see right now in the market is also that everybody uh, somehow wants to hire account executives, right? But they don't really want to hire AEs with no SDR experience because we all have to do some outbound, right? We have to fill our pipelines by ourselves and not only depend on marketing and marketing costs and so on. So I think being an SDR really helps you get into sales, right? Because you do all these basic work, this groundwork, so to say. And today I'm kind of saying that I'm still an SDR. So in my heart, I think I will ever be an SDR, right? Because just going out there, convincing other people, doing outreach and so on, this is something you can basically use in your whole career, right? If you maybe want to found your own company one day, or you're gonna, I don't know, win new projects, right? So you always can use these yeah kind of abilities you've learned.
Awesome. So before we actually dive into like the
hmm
main segment, maybe just a quick background about yourself for the
hmm
audience who are watching and listening to. So that'll be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So basically, when I started as an SDR, I worked at an HR tech company. So kind of calling HR personas to find out how we could help them with recruiting. So basically, it was a company focusing on um, yeah, kind of recruiting through different online channels. So this is what I did like 2 years, like a bit more than 2 years. And I transitioned from SMB SDR to mid-market SDR to enterprise SDR. And basically, when I've been the enterprise SDR, I was the only one in the company, kind of building this whole structure, building this team up, and had the chance to work very closely with the whole enterprise team, which really taught me a lot about how to involve bigger companies, right? How to do proper research and how to also kind of understand the prioritization of accounts. Then I kind of switched into a new market for me. It was finance, fintech. Basically, started again as an SDR because I wanted some kind of change and to understand other markets. And then I got the offer from an HR tech company again, from HiBob, where I'm working right now, to join as an account executive for SMB. So I kind of did the jump from SDR to AE in a new company, which is not that often the case because it's a bit more risky, right? You don't know the product, you don't know the kind of value prop in the market. but you still have to learn closing from zero experience. So it's still a very interesting journey for me, but yeah, goes well so far.
Awesome, impressive. I think it's all about the learning curve, no matter where
Yeah,
jump in or like a new venture altogether. Awesome.
yeah,
And what would you say are like some of the key skills that you develop as an SDR that really helped you in your personal growth? So what were some of the top three
yeah.
or four skills that you learned?
I think one of the first one is, and you can use it like everywhere, right? So really just talking to people, talking to random people you don't know, they don't know you. They don't expect your call, your email, your LinkedIn DM, your approach at a trade fair or something. So basically, you just go out, you learn how to proper communicate, how to kind of um, s- so kind of how to argue. Now I'm losing my words, and kind of just going out there, right? I think this is the first point, because you can kind of use this for, I don't know, if you want to date a new person and you want to approach him or her, right? If you want to make new friends, if you want to approach people, I don't know, you can use it everywhere. I think the second point is to understand how companies might work in terms of making decisions based on problems they have. So basically, you get a very deep or good understanding in regards of what kind of pain points could my prospect have right now? Could the company have? Could the whole market have? Right? For example, when we look into the German market, we have in German, we call it Fachkräftemangel, right? So many people are not in the right jobs, so to say. And of course, the whole company has like a problem, right? So you see the problem of the whole market. And this is for every market, you have like specific problems that are paired with specific solutions. And I think understanding this whole game, like which kind of competitors do I have? Right now, I'm working with HR solutions, right? So HR software. Which kind of competitors are out there? What is the value prop exactly? Like, where do we differentiate? To understand this, this is like, I think from my experience, better than to have like a basic BWL studium or MBA, right? Because you're just like crunching the numbers. But as an SDR or senior SDR, you actually understand the economy and you act on it, right? So I think this is the second point. And the third point is, yeah, I think just never give up. I had many cases in my career where we chased them for months, for quarters actually. Like I have one or two cases where I tried like 6 months plus for some enterprise accounts in Germany to just get an appointment. Right. So this is something you learn and you have to keep on. And this is something I also adapt right now. Right. So if somebody says, hey, you have a really great product, we really like the process, but I don't know, it's bad timing, we don't have the budget, something like this. Um, I just keep engaging them, right? Keep involving them into events, into coffee chats, into meetings, real life stuff. And maybe they will sign next year or the year afterwards, right? So never give up is something I would choose at the third point.
Love it. It's super impressive. I think the more practical you are on field, you get to experience a lot and gather
Yeah.
insights from people. I think there's something just strike me was this German saying, which is "Man muss ein dickes Fell haben," so have a thick skin.
Yeah.
I think that mentality is super important. If, chasing
Yeah.
leads and being in
Yeah.
sales.
And I think like I would agree, right? So this whole rejection thing, like everybody talks on LinkedIn, but I think sometimes it really depends on the market. For
Mhm.
example, if you sell to HR, like I do, I have the perception from roughly 3 years in HR tech that the persona are way more friendlier, way more nicer.
Mhm.
Also, when they say no, like they keep listening a couple of minutes, right? In comparison, when you directly try to sell to finance or the C-level, so really cold calling CEOs out of the blue, is way more tougher, so to say, as calling the head of HR from a 200 employee company or even 5,000, 10,000. Like they are still calm because they like to talk to people every day, right? So this is the people business. So I think it depends, but of course, yeah, have a thick skin. Yeah.
That's a very interesting way to look at. I think I would definitely align with you on this point because having been also
Yeah.
speaking to different decision makers, it really
Yeah.
shows a difference in the communication. And my next question here would be like, what sort of challenges that you faced, like transitioning from an SDR to an AE? Were there any specific problems or scenarios that you found super difficult? Like, hey, I think I should have learned this, or you missed something?
Yeah. I think so basically we have different kind of commission scenarios in the companies, right? So some SDRs are commissioned on booking meetings, right? So you maybe just can book meetings out of interest, right? You just call somebody and say, "Hey, are you open to have a chat about XYZ?" This may be like a trend topic or something they're interested in, and you have the meeting, and you will have your commission and your target and so on. Um, this is the most case. Of course, there's some qualification in between, right? But then you're out of the game. And I think the challenge for an AE is, or in the transition also, to kind of course, you need some quantity in your mindset, right? So you really need to do outbound, in the best case, every day, every week, right? Get yourself some routines in, so to say. But you're also where we have to disqualify and say, hey, I would really love to chat again or longer, show you the product, right? Give you a test account and so on. But you have to really prioritize the whole time you have, right? So there are just limit time out there, and we also have a private life, so to say, in the most cases. So you have to decide in which kind of cases you want to invest. This is something that I think it's pretty tough in the beginning, and also right now I'm just going through it and learning, right? So understanding, is it really a project, so to say? Is it really like a pain? Is it a business pain, right? So as an SDR, you can talk to talk to operative people, and they say, "Oh, we really hate the system. It's so trash. It's not intuitive," and you get the meeting booked,
Mhm.
right? Because it's their personal pain and they are interested. But as an AE, I would really try to understand, is it a pain that the whole company would change their system landscape, right? Like, do we have a business impact? Do we have business problems that we can solve and not only problems of HR or of finance or of IT? Because like the CEO says, hey, why should we like get into this whole risk management and kind of change whole system landscapes when the pain is just 5 hours more per week, right?
Mhm.
This is something I think we have to disqualify very early to have more time for the real opportunities.
Very interesting. Yeah. I think prioritization and also understanding the actual need uh, from the user side is super important because, as you rightly pointed out, rather than wasting a lot of time and actually focusing on the crux of the issue, really matters
Mm.
as an SDR for sure, and also as an AE.
Yeah,
So, Mhm.
and just one thing would be, I think also for both sides, right? So you can also be very transparent, and this is what I love, to just be open and say, hey, we could invest some time, but you also know that like there's no budget, like you don't have the power to decide like why are we wasting time here? And I think we should point it out for both sides, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important to show that sort of interest from your end so that even if it doesn't work out, maybe in the future, like,
Mhm.
okay, they know that, okay, hey, so he showed a lot of interest, he or she.
Yeah.
So that's very important. And what's your state of mind right now, like, being an AE and being, having been an SDR before, what has changed in terms of your mentality or the way you think or the way you approach things? Is there any specific
Yeah.
scenario or something that you could share?
Yeah, of course. So if we talk about very specific scenarios, when we begin in the kind of top funnel, like from my top view of my pipeline, I really want to work on, in the first stage, on the right accounts, right? So basically what I do is looking out maybe for different triggers when, as I was in SDR. So because I need the opportunity to be closed, right? So I need some a new revenue, some new customers. So as I said, like I need some strategic things which the C-level cares about. For example, it can be company growth, right? It can be acquisitions of the company. So the whole company is growing, new structures, new people. We have job changes and so on. And these are like some criteria I'm just looking out to make a very tailored and compelling outreach. Because if I don't have like this why change, right? So we always have these why change, why now and why us, right? And I think it's more important than ever. Also, when we look into the economic situation, right? So companies really want to think like 3 times longer than 2 or 3 years ago. Should we do this decision? Should we invest the money? So I think preparing and looking for compelling accounts, for promising accounts, is way more important because I have to own the full cycle as an AE, right? And I also just want to have customers who are basically happy because my strategic goal is to not just win customers, but win kind of people who really speak for me, like they speak for my product and for me as a person. So when I need a referral, I know somebody to call and say, hey, I'm in this process. Maybe you can help me out, right? And the person is like, hey, yeah, sure, why not? Because I'm happy. I know you. I've met you. The process was good. The product is nice. The support is good, and so on. And I think just building up this whole network is like this whole bigger game when you stay in the company for like years or also in the market for years. Of course, I will try to utilize people I've met. And if I see a fit for a new product for them, of course, it's better to come with a network than yeah, just don't have one, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, would you also agree that spending some time on research to actually get the
Yeah.
right, like the customer, right? So I'm sure that it's also something that you consider investing some time in researching
Yeah,
the right
absolutely,
ideal
absolutely.
fit.
Absolutely. So basically, a lot of companies, right, are working with AI. They send out random sequences, random emails, and they are all not tailored and not personalized. And they don't have this kind of value in like, so why should I invest like 30 minutes in a call when you send me just some random emails who don't have like context, who don't add up each other? And this is why I really do a lot of research and every email some prospects become from me are always personalized from 100%. There's no AI, no ChatGPT run through. It's all my fingers and my brain and research, right? Because I want them to feel special and that only them can basically understand the email, right? So this is like my goal, but it's very tailored down. So yes, research is of course very important.
Got it. Awesome. And what advice would you give like the future SDRs? Like if there is someone who's right out of college or from the uni and they're gonna get started in their sales career as an SDR. So what is the first advice that you would tell them?
Mhm. I think, yeah, it's a good question, but also a tough one because the market really has changed in the last years. So when I began, it was 2022, so 3 years ago as an SDR. The market was pretty easy to call. It was easy to get. I don't know. We somehow did 30 to 40 meetings per month, so it was like a bunch of meetings coming in. And now things have changed. Companies also try to make the SDR role different, right? So we have a lot more qualification. We have a lot more research, like you've said. We have a lot more segmentation, like what kind of vehicles we can use from the market For example, I see SDRs only doing a specific market segmentation right now because it makes a lot of sense for the company to say, hey, we have, for example, 5 SDRs, right? And they don't just call random companies, they really call market segmentations because they become the expert in the market. They know customer stories in and out from these sub-market. For example, if we talk about, I don't know, hospitality, right? If you only talk to hospitality people, you can tell a bunch of stories. So you use storytelling, you use social proof, you have use cases, and you are no longer a SDR as it meant to be, right? You're like really tailoring things down. And I think my first advice would be try to be different. If you look at your team, if you look at your company, try to do something else. Because when you see, for example, let's say you're working at a big company and you start your career, let's say HubSpot, Salesforce, I don't know, like the big brands, right? And I don't know, they're working 100 SDRs, couple of hundreds, I don't know, and you see them all doing the same stuff, for example, with automated emails through sequences, you can imagine that there are hundreds of companies out there with dozens of SDRs who also do the same. And they all want to win the DACH market, for example, right now, right? So try to be different because if you are different, you also see results. You see if you only personalize emails or your outreach in general, you will see a very high response rate. People click on your emails, they answer you, and they like to talk to you if you have your research done. So I think it's not a spray like spray and pray. I think was the word. Yes,
Mhm.
method, but you really have to understand the whole game you actually play. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think two takeaways from what you just mentioned is the industry segmentation, get good at it,
Hmm.
go deep in understanding the industry, what you're working on. And second one, think outside the box. I think that's an important aspect. Also, personally, I
Yeah.
feel in today's world with the creativity around. So I think it's important to think something outside the box and come up with new ideas, and also share it with your peer group and see how we
Yes, of
can
course.
win a lot of deals.
Of course.
And yeah, so my last question to you, Yanis, would be how has being an SDR shaped your future career goals? What was it like being an SDR, and how have you aligned that with your future goals?
Yeah. So basically in the very easy sales career framework, right? Being an SDR is always or very often the first step. And I think if you have done it 1 year, maybe 2 years, you have a very proper foundation for moving upwards, right? So you basically have um, some may in bigger companies begin with inbound SDRs, when they are outbound SDRs, when they become AEs, right? Senior AEs, mid-market enterprise, and so on. And I think it will help me in my career. I don't care which kind of role, but I think in every role you can say, hey, I know exactly what I'm talking about. For example, if somebody comes to me and say, hey, can you help me with this outreach? Like how would you do it and so on? I have to know what I'm talking about, right? And for example, if I maybe in the future will be like a sales leader, SDR leader, AE leader, I don't know. I have to understand the pains from my team, and I've done it over 2 years, so I know how hard it can be, or how hard it can be, yeah, being like an SDR day to day. You can have tough days, but you can also have great days. So I think really walking the talk is extremely important, and being an SDR really helps to get this whole like sales foundation here.
Awesome. Super. Thank you so much, Yanis. I had
Thank
a
you.
wonderful conversation with you, and thanks for sharing all the insights. I think that was super.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that's like super insightful for the viewers and the listeners who are watching this and listening to this. So thank you so much once again, and yeah,
Great.
see you then.
Thank you so much, Gopi. See you. Bye bye. Ciao,
Ciao.
ciao.